Walk into a casino and something feels strange immediately. There are no clocks, no windows, lights flashing, machines ringing, carpet patterns are designed to keep your eyes down. The entire place feels alive. That's not decoration, that's design. Casinos learned something decades ago. You don't need people to win, you just need them to keep playing. So they built machines around powerful psychological discovery. Sometimes you win, but most of the time you don't. But the next pull might be the one. Fast forward to today. Pull your phone out of your pocket. Scroll, refresh notifications, like, suggestions, recommendations, people you may know, shit you might want to see, shit you might want to buy. But the next swipe might be the one. Maybe something appears, maybe nothing appears. It's a different machine, but the same psychology. The casino never disappeared, it scaled. Welcome to the prescription. Let's start the show. And we are back. Yeah, we back, baby. Before we get started, we have a lot to consume. I got a lot to talk, so you might hear me pause. I have a slight speech instead of me. Look, I can't even say the fucking word right. Slight speech impediment. While we doing this, give me, just be patient with me. I got my bottle of water right here. I got a lot to talk about. I got a lot to go through, and I want to make sure you guys hear me clearly. So, um, let's get to it. Oh, before that, I want to say thank you to all the people who give me feedback and support. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up on the Cash App or the Venmo or any other way you can get it to me. Get it to me. I appreciate this shit going right back into the platform. We ain't trying to do none of that other bullshit. We trying to do what we love for a long, long time and have it to feed our families and pass it on to the next generations and things of that nature. So I appreciate every single dime and minute of time that you spend with me. No, I appreciate everything because I know we're only going forward in life. You can't get any time back. So every minute that you spend listening to me, I appreciate it and I take it very seriously. So thank you. Let's go ahead and get into it. Right? If you don't know, if this is your first time here, this is the prescription, and I'm your host, the Trill Pill. And today we're talking about something hiding in plain sight. Your phone is a slot machine. Now you might be like, my phone is a slot machine. What the fuck? Well, I'm gonna walk you down through that. All right, we're gonna start with me laying the foundation. Just walk with me here. You might want to take some notes. You might want to get your phone, your tablet. You just might need that in the future. You know, so especially when you're dealing with me and me, how I gotta break this shit all down, right? So let's start here, right? I was introduced to B.F. Skinner back in college. Shout out to Langston University. You hear what I'm saying? Shout out to the Lou. Um, B.F. Skinner created the Skinner box, right? Now, I want to say he was mid 20th century. He was a behavioral psychologist. His name was B.F. Skinner. I don't know what the BF means. But he ran experiments using what became known as the Skinner box. Now I'm gonna show you the Skinner box. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull up the Skinner box real quick. Share the screen because you know I gotta back up my shit with goddamn facts. You know what I'm saying? We ain't them other platform. We got facts over here. We got facts we can back up any one of our uh you know, any one of the episodes into we just got backup. Or receipts, as the women call them. We got receipts. Shout out to the ladies, because drill pill is for the ladies too. If anything, y'all. But anyway, at first, before I get there, inside the box, the animals could press a lever to receive food. And at first, the experiment seemed straightforward. Press the lever and receive food, but Skinner discovered something more fascinating. If the reward appeared every time, the animals eventually slowed down. Predictable rewards became boring, but when the reward appeared randomly, behavior intensified dramatically. Press, press, press. Skinner called this a variable ratio schedule. Now I'm gonna show you what this is. Excuse me, for some people that out there, I drank a lot of coffee this morning, so excuse me if I speed through some of this shit. I'm gonna slow it down again because boy, the coffee, I got a hold of some Colombian coffee. Oh my god, boy, that shit. I don't know, that shit might got that fit in there. I don't know what's in there, but anyway, Skinner box. I found an example of that. Intro to psychology. I don't know. Shout out to the lady. She got great fingers. So let's
So
go.
B.F. Skinner studied rats and pigeons in an operant conditioning chamber, which is called a Skinner box. Inside the Skinner box, they have a food dispenser and a lever that the rat can press. Other conditioning chambers have things such as lights as well. Now you might wonder, why did Skinner look at rats and pigeons in a Skinner box? Well, it turns out that what he learned from the Skinner box can be applied to humans, meaning the information from the animals generalizes to human behavior as well. First, we want to know, why does the rat first press the lever? Well, it turns out rats are exploratory creatures, meaning they will walk around their environment and check it out. And so when the rat is first placed in the Skinner box, it may go over to the corner, stand up and smell the walls, but eventually it may come over and bump into the lever or stand on it to smell something up here. When that first occurrence happens, we can deliver a food pellet to the rat. But how do we get the rat to press the lever again? We can get the rat to press the lever through the process of shaping. And shaping is reinforcing successive approximations to the final target behavior. So if the rat were standing over here in the corner, I wouldn't deliver a food pellet. However, if the rat started to approach the lever, I could deliver a food pellet. Eventually, you reinforce those behaviors that are closest to the final one. Shaping is important for many of our operant conditioning behaviors.
All right, let me close this out. So that is an example of the BF Skinner box. You feel what I'm saying? So keep that box in mind because I'm gonna bring this all together. Just walk with me here, right? We're taking a long walk. You know what I'm saying? So um variable ratio schedule. Now, it became one of the most powerful reinforcement patterns ever discovered. Casinos recognized this pattern and the implications immediately. Slot machines were built on that exact principle, even down to the mechanics. They had the animals, the rats and the pigeons and whatever, what the fuck they use. They probably use some other shit. You know how to, you know what they do when they start testing shit. Being black, we would want to test subjects. But anyway, different subject, different episode. Even down to the lever or the button, right? So sometimes you win, sometimes nothing happens. But the possibility of winning keeps the player engaged. You did? Casinos then they started to engineer the entire environment around that psychology. So slot machines are designed with near miss effects, flashing lights, celebratory sounds for tiny wins, and rapid play cycles. The goal is not to maximize winnings. The goal is to maximize time spent playing. So these casinos didn't just build games, they built behavioral environments. Now, this ties into the last few episodes. I was talking about social media being on trial, and the main thing that's being on trial with these babies is design architecture. Did you know that how you design your platform could have an effect on children? That's what they're up against. These mothers and fathers and families who have lost their babies due to suicide, God rest their soul, and the people who have lost their lives to suicide due to some social media shit. That's what's at trial right now. Design architecture. Did you guys know this was a possibility? Did you guys know this is a foreseeable risk? The same way how I explained it with the Ford Pinto, right? The Ford Pinto was blowing the fuck up, so they just moved the gas tank to the other side. You feel what I'm saying? The same thing about the war with big tobacco and big pharma, Purdue Pharma, right? Did you guys see a foreseeable risk and neglect that foreseeable risk, right? A lot of times, like I said before, we're going to get back to it. This doesn't change the businesses. They're going to settle out, but it's going to change the design structure. You feel what I'm saying? So the same way like your TikToks and your Snapchats, they didn't want no smoke with this case, so they settled out. You feel what I'm saying? Anyway, go check the episodes at the last three. The algorithm on trial, last 304. Go check those out. Dig that. You understand what I'm saying? So, excuse me. So they built behavioral environments. You feel me? Now, the internet comes into play because the internet borrowed the blueprint. Now, look at your phone right now. Take your phone out or flip your phone out. Me, I got a Motorola Razr, so I'm flipping my phone on the bitch. You know what I'm talking about? I'm flipping the phone out. But whatever phone you have, flip your phone out. All right? Pull your phone out. Scroll, scroll, scroll. And each swipe is structurally identical to a slot machine pool. Each swipe is structurally identical to a slot machine pool. Where is my thumbnail? Each swipe is structurally identical to a slot machine pool, right? Most posts do nothing. Then suddenly something hits. Might be a funny video, might be a shocking clip, a viral moment. You might see me on there with that ass out. You know what I'm talking about? And there with that ass out. Yeah, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? You might go, oh shit, it's going down over here. Baby got them cheeks out. Shit like that. Ruining our minds. You know what I'm saying? Now, your brain gets a tiny reward. So you swipe again. Social media platforms adopted casino mechanics almost perfectly. Now, casino and social media are two of the things that I drew a parallel to because I've been with both. Of course, everybody got a phone and on social media, especially with me creating content and shit like that, right? But I don't frequent the casino much, but the times that I went in there, I felt kind of uneasy. Like I go in there and I got a limit. I'm gonna win $100 in here. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I just wanna, you know what I'm saying? But I did that because I want to see what it is. I'm not a normal casino goer. So for me, the experience is all new for me. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they be having some good ass food and there, good buffets and there. Get your lobster. You can get your whole big family lobster. You can get the mama lobster, daddy lobster, get your steak, you know what I'm talking about? Get your macaroni and cheese, you know what I'm talking about? Get you a drink. You feel me? Everything to keep you right there. Keep you full and keep that money coming out your motherfucking pocket. You know what I'm talking about? Now, casinos and social media, I drew this parallel, and I should have made a graphic for this. One thing I forgot to do is make a graphic for this. Usually I have slides, but I forgot. So just bear with me. Use your thinking caps. All right. We grew up in the thinking cap era, so we grew up looking to the sky in our classrooms and imagining and having imagination. So for those of us who still have the luxury of having and imagination, let's have that at this moment. Look up. Look up. Put a casino on one side, put social media on the other side. The lever pool for casinos is the same thing as the swipe gesture for social media. The slot spin for casinos is the same thing as a feed refresh for social media. The jackpot is the same thing for the casino that viral content is for social media. The casino bells is the same thing for the casino as notification sounds for social media. The near miss is the same thing as the almost viral post on social media. Now, and just like casinos, the environment removes stopping points. And that's another thing that's on trial too. That's been mentioned a lot is they remove stopping points. They created this, it's an endless feed of shit. There's no stopping point. You know, that's another thing that's on trial during, this platform shit that's going on with the Zuckerberg and the Neil Mohan and the Adam Moseris and those guys who are on these platforms. That's why I put them up on the thumbnails for y'all to see. You know what I'm saying? Trip here, what you talking about? Don't worry. I got you right here. This the guy that owns Roblox. Go check that episode out. Right? These are the guys who run these platforms. All right. You got Zuckerberg, you got Adam Mosseri, you got Neil Mohan, and the Twitch guy. I don't know. I forgot his name, but these are the guys who run those platforms. Right? Now we're talking about these three. These are, got Zuck right there in the front. Adam Mosseri and Neil Mohan, who they told Neil Mohan that he didn't have to testify, and I wonder why. I'm still looking into that. Neil Mohan is the guy on the right hand side. All right, now talking about these guys. All right, these are the guys that you need to know who the fuck they are because they are the one who created all these platforms, especially these two on the right hand side because they didn't want the smoke, so they settled out. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, for sure. But they remove stopping points, right? Casinos remove clocks. Social media remove the end of the page. Newspapers ended. TV shows ended. Magazines ended. But Infinite Scrolls never ends. They never end. Once you got done reading newspaper, shit, it was fold that son bitch up, put it up on your arm or put it down and go cook some chicken on or something. You know what I'm saying? Take your favorite parts out. The rest of it is used for wrapping paper and cook the chicken or put it down on the floor so the kids can eat and not mess up the carpet on the floor. Y'all know what was going on. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Or put in the front of your shoe to keep your shoe. Y'all know. But it ended. TV shows ended. You got 30 minutes. You know what time Martin go in. You got to end to it every time. down to the part where, you know, when the commercials gonna hit and things like that. Magazines ended, same thing, you know. But the infinite scroll doesn't end. So the system keeps loading the next possibility. And every swipe becomes a new lever pool. And because the reward is unpredictable, the brain keeps searching, or the brain keeps posting for my content creators out there, especially the ones who want to go viral. You know, people doing this dumb shit to go viral. You can also check that episode out. I said that a long time ago called The Cost of Clout. And I went over that last season, but dig that. Go through the catalog. Go through the catalog. It's all type of pimping to pick up on over there. It's all type of shit. Work off done. The catalog is grand. I just need you know, you and yours to come and fuck with me. Now, the casino historically had one limitation, that they were static environments, and the slot machine didn't learn from the player, right? So that's pretty much the difference. Excuse me, hold on. That's pretty much the difference, that these slot machines were static environments. These slot machines didn't learn from the player. These platforms learn from us. They learn everything about us, right? Um, it it simply ran on its program odds, right? Now, modern digital platforms have changed that. Social media platforms track behavior constantly, and they monitor your watch time, your scroll speed, your likes, your shares, your pause patterns. You keep stopping on that. Woo, look, woo, thick, woo, thick chocolates. You keep stopping on her. She don't even say nothing. You don't even know if the bitch is real or not. This could be an AI thought. You know, gotta watch out for the AI thoughts they out there, because them AI thoughts be thick too. Yeah, because they know. Yeah, yeah. You think you talking to an AI thought? People that have been fooled by the AI thoughts. Matt Barnes of the Up in Smoke, All in Smoke, whatever they call it, with Steven Jackson Pocket. He done spent 70 grand to the AI thought. He thought he was gonna get some of that cool cat, some of that cool peppy. He thought he was gonna get some of that ooh, I forgot the mosh. You understand me? But he got finessed. You know what I'm saying? So be careful. But they watch you. They know what you like. You feel me? Every interaction becomes data, and that data feeds algorithms that reshape the environment around you. So your feed becomes personalized, your recommendations become more precise, and your attention patterns become more predictable. And this is where the metaphor evolves, because now the machine isn't static, it's adaptive. You are not just playing the machine is learning how to play you. Casinos, they engineered machines, but technology, they engineered adaptive environments, right? I got a video. We're gonna watch a little bit of it, not a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Not a whole lot. I think we covered pretty much that one and that one. But I got one more to kind of bring this home. Then we want to close this on out. Um, it don't take long for us to goddamn get it, come back with it. But addiction by design, slot machines, addiction by design. Her name is Natasha Dow Scholl rather, and she wrote this book. And this is a great article. So we're not gonna play the whole thing because I don't want them to flag me down. But we are doing this for research and educational purposes. You know, so please don't take my video down. You understand what I'm saying? But you guys, you know how they play with this content. So, like I said, this lady right here, is her name is Natasha Dow Scholl, And she wrote this book called Slot Machines: Addiction by Design. And we're going to get into a little bit of the interview. Um, Let me see. Uh, we want to go to a certain part. We want to go to the last part, and we're going to go to
else.
This part.
Well, unlike some of the more traditional casino games, like a horse race or a poker game, if you think of those games, you've got to wait until the horse is finished running. There are other people involved sometimes, so you have to wait until someone takes their turn. With the machines, it's just you alone and the machine. So that's one important factor, is the solitude that makes you get really drawn in, because there's nothing else interrupting you, right? Another really important factor is the continuity, that you can just continue from the end of one game, whether you're going and pressing a button or whether you're pulling the lever, immediately you can press again and pull again. You don't have to wait till the next horse race or the next game to start at cards. There's three things really. So we've got solitude, continuity, and the third one is speed. The speed of the game is incredible. Back again to the horse race or even a roulette wheel. There's a limited number of those that you can play in an hour. You can play up to 1,200 unique games on a slot machine in 1 hour. So if you think about that, addiction researchers would call that event frequency. And event frequency just literally means what it says. The number of events in time are so incredibly frequent that it intensifies it, and it doesn't really leave you any room to think or be in time and space. You're just drawn into the next game, the next game, the next.
Game and the next game. So it's the same thing about with social media. So she dives into a lot of that, because this book is exactly what I'm talking about today. We're going to go down to, let's this one right here.
As work. We could also go into the actual slot machine and redesign some of the parameters there as well. Again, setting limits on the things that we know make these games so compelling to our psychology. We know it's about the solitude, the continuity, and the speed. So why don't we look at those three things and try to build some kind of a net? As safety modifications, you could see them. And you can have a big debate. Do we want our safety modifications to act as seat belts or speed bumps or in airbags? There's all sorts of ways we could map that discussion onto policies in other areas.
All right, well, speaking of other areas, let's broaden into some other areas, including, for example, cell phone, smartphone design, and consider this quote from former Google product philosopher Tristan Harris, who said the following: "Never before in history have the decisions of a handful of designers, mostly men, white, living in San Francisco, aged 25 to 35, working at three companies, Google, Apple, and Facebook, had so much impact on how millions of people around the world spend their attention. We should feel an enormous responsibility to get this."
This was I came across this too, but just think about that shit, right? Never before in history have the decisions of a handful of designers, mostly men, white, living in San Francisco, ain't really got a piece. A lot of these, they ain't got no ass, rarely no experiences. Probably grew up rich their whole life. Really just lack everything that the average person lacks. 25 to 35 out there, they out there buying all types of pussy out there. They didn't get no pussy until they had the money to go buy some. So they don't know how I feel to actually be broke and try to use their brain and go and try to get up on something, or they don't know how it feels to, have to create something from scratch to go get your hustle on or try to help out in the household. They don't know how to deal with interactive experiences like that. These motherfuckers just got rich, got smart, and read some good books, and a lot of them ain't really even that smart, in my opinion, right? It's because they make a lot of money don't mean they're smart. Because you make a lot of money doesn't mean that you deserve to be in that position because you make a lot of money and you know these things. And I say that with great confidence because look at what the fuck is happening now. Because these platforms, fuck the platforms, the people who created the platforms lack empathy. You ought to see the walk-ins when Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys had to walk in, Adam Mosseri and all these guys had to walk in. They didn't show any piece of compassion to the mothers and the fathers and the families who lost their children, possibly due to their platforms and what they didn't, and the environment that they designed through these platforms. They didn't give a fuck. Mark Zuckerberg is so much of an asshole and a dickhead that him and his weak ass little entourage walking through the courthouse, these niggas had on Meta glasses. Walking into the courtroom knowing goddamn well you can't do that. And how insensitive is that to do that while you're on trial? You gotta go in here and get on the goddamn stand and defend the design architecture about this is about safety. Safety and foreseeable risk and things of that nature. But you and your entourage, your lame ass entourage walked in with the medical glasses on, and the judge got in their ass. Ripped them apart. Because that shit was just so smug and I'm Mark Zuckerberg and here's my Meta family. I got Meta glasses and this is how I'm just so above this. And he didn't give a fuck. These platforms don't give a fuck about who dies. The same way some of these huge industries don't give a fuck about who dies. Big Tobacco didn't give a fuck about these kids dying. They started making all these fruity ass flavors of Swisher Sweets, tropical banana, and all the candy flavors on the Swisher Sweet. They didn't give a fuck about you dying. Look, they don't give a fuck about you dying. Like dying to them is collateral damage. It's a part of it. We're gonna create something so big. Hey, this shit's gonna be a part. We're gonna have people that die. We're gonna get sued, have deaths, and we're gonna settle out as much as we can. Have people in here that are conditioned by us and for us to get in front of these juries and whoever the fuck they gotta get in front of. In the meantime, we're still gonna work with the government. We're still gonna create these platforms. And it's almost like until they stop us, we're gonna do this shit. It's the same way how I explain eating the feeling I felt eating the naked Doritos. You know what I'm saying? The naked Doritos. I seen them in Target. I grabbed them. Me and my babies, we seen them. We're gonna try these out. The Doritos taste the fucking same. The Red 40 is not necessary. It has no flavor. It's not a flavor. It's just for the color of it. That shit can make you grow an ass out of your kneecap. Have a cancer or things of that nature. Just unnecessary shit. Which lets me know that, damn, they could have done this shit the whole time. But until somebody put pressure on that shit, now we gonna do it. This shit don't change. But the fucked up part is they still sell the Doritos with that red 40 on it. So if you want that red 40 on it, you can go get you some red 40 and lick that red 40 off your fingers. Yeah, you can still go and get some of that red 40 off your fingers. That's what you're licking off your fingers when you eat your Doritos. That red 40. Hot Cheetos. How many of us grew up eating hot Cheetos? I ain't never seen no one person eat no hot Cheetos. It's always us eating some hot Cheeto, hot fries. Eating the most reddest shit. The little wrapper around the hot link. Why is it a red hot link? What is the red part? Where did this shit come from? That red 40. And they could make that same shit without it. But because of the design psychology, what Pimp C used to say, red make you turn head. Hey, you see them hot links. Oh shit. And them hoes on sale. Let me get it. Give me that 4 of them hot links, nigga. Throw them on the grill. The red hot links. And that's just one. It's a plethora of dyes that they created up over the years that just unnecessary shit. But like I said before, I got frustrated because it was like, damn, y'all could have been doing this shit. Nigga, I done ate so many motherfucking Doritos, especially when it comes to Rotel and nachos and shit, walking tacos and all that extra shit. Man, y'all got me fucked up. Cheese puffs, cheddar, all that shit. All that shit. And they still sell the other shit too, which lets me know that it's not about take giving a fuck off the scale. Nigga, Frito-Lay is not going no motherfucking where. They're gonna still sell hot everything, flaming hot everything, flaming hot Cool Ranch, flaming hot everything mixed, flaming hot dill pickle, flaming hot everything, flaming hot. Got that good old red 40 on it. So they still gonna sell you the bad shit. They just giving you an option now. They just turn the option to a whole other lane. You feel what I'm saying? Same thing with the people that come, oh, this is orange juice, but this is the organic. You don't know if that shit organic or not. It could be the same shit, but it's like the placebo effect. You want this shit just because it look cool. You don't know if that shit work or not. It's the same goddamn orange juice. You know what I'm saying? These oranges came from the tree, and those oranges came from a lab. It's the same oranges. They crossbreeding fruits and everything. It's some wild shit going on. But the ethical design is what we're talking about right now. I'm going to read this shit again. Never before in history have the decisions of a handful of designers, mostly men, white, living in San Francisco, aged 25 to 35, working at 3 companies, Google, Apple, and Facebook, had so much impact on how millions of people around the world spend their attention. We should feel an enormous responsibility to get this right. You know the person that I want to talk to? I want to talk to Tom, the MySpace guy, our first friend on social media ever in life. My nigga Tom. Tom is a photographer now. He's living his life, whatever he's doing. But I want to talk to Tom because now I want to talk to Tom. Anybody know MySpace Tom? Get in touch with me. I gotta find him. I'm gonna reach out to him. I know. I'm doing this out strength for love, baby. I'm a small platform. I barely, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to know what his views are on things like this because he was one of the first. And I wonder why he got out of it and peeled back from the whole scene. I wonder what he saw. What, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to know what he saw and made him want to say, you know what? I done built this shit up. This is as far as it can get. I'm done. I'm going to do something else. I just want to know. Shout out to Tom, man. Tom was a real one. But anyway. Back to it.
That's right. Okay, in your view, Natasha, what kind of responsibility do you feel they ought to have?
Well, I think the first responsibility would be to recognize that although there may be differences and products may be differentiated, they're all, I think, almost all following the same model for profit, which I like to call nano monetization. And the idea is speed things up and chop everything into many little likes or clicks.
Nano monetization. Peep these terms now. Now, look, you know what? My bad. Let me shut the fuck up real quick. Let's do this. Tasha, go.
Ways we could map that discussion onto policies in other areas.
All right, well, speaking of other areas, let's broaden into some other areas, including, for example, cell phone, smartphone design, and consider this quote from former Google product philosopher Tristan Harris, who said the following: "Never before in history have the decisions of a handful of designers, mostly men, white, living in San Francisco, aged 25 to 35, working at 3 companies, Google, Apple, and Facebook, had so much impact on how millions of people around the world spend their attention. We should feel an enormous responsibility to get this right." Okay, in your view, Natasha, what kind of responsibility do you feel they ought to have?
Well, I think the first responsibility would be to recognize that although there may be differences and products may be differentiated, they're all, I think, almost all following the same model for profit, which I like to call nano monetization. And the idea is speed things up and chop everything into many little likes or clicks of the mouse. And that's where your profit comes, from the volume of little behaviors in time. And then as a company, you're incentivized to get people to play as much and interact as much as possible with your product. And you know what you really want is for them never to go away. And if you think about it, someone who plays longer, faster, more, and doesn't leave does define an addict. So in a curious way, if you take it to its logical limit, these guys, and as Tristan says, they are mainly guys, are designing to create addicts in consumers. And they do throw around the word addiction and getting hooked in very positive ways, because if something is sticky or it hooks you or it addicts you, then it's a good product. I think the first responsibility is owning up to that and taking enough risks. Really gambling would mean to move away from that nano monetization model of profit to think up other kinds of interactions that maybe include pauses and go at a slower pace and can be picked up at other times and might even incentivize going away and reflecting or doing something else.
But in your view, have they yet acknowledged that responsibility?
Well, someone like Tristan, who left Google and is really thinking about this carefully, and he and I are in conversation, you could see him as a model of someone within the industry who is trying to be mindful that way. There are others, not necessarily in the space of gaming, but making other kind of products for mindfulness or meditation. So from within Silicon Valley, trying to devise products, ironically, you might see it as ironic, that free up our attention or allow it to get a little bit slower and come back to the self instead of just being this distraction.
That agenda, however, I mean, there must be days when it feels like you're spitting into a hurricane trying to push that, yes?
Yes, because it's about, we even have this term, the attention economy. It's about capturing the attention economy, the attention of consumers out there. And the more you capture, the better. And it's all about, capturing their time and by extension, their money. And it does, that's really hard to break that. Another way I like to think about it is the idea of ludic loops, that it's sort of looping people into these replicated little repetitive actions that don't have a lot of room for narrative growth or movement, because it's just click, 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 whether it's Candy Crush or Bejeweled or slot machines. So I think another onus of responsibility falls on designers to creatively think outside of that ludic loop.
Because we've had casinos, if I can get back to that for a second here, we've had casinos in the province of Ontario, population 13 million plus now, since I think the early 1990s. And if I read you right, you want us not only to consider whether to have casinos, but also to have some focus on the kinds of games that are in those casinos, so we all aren't spending our lives in this altered state you talked about earlier. Is that a fair summation?
I think that is a fair summation, and it is a question, you were just talking about responsibility, but that's really vague. How are you going to responsibilize casino owners or governments who run casinos who depend or almost in a fashion of an addict on the revenue, or Silicon Valley designers. I am very cynical on this point. I don't believe that you can ask those entities to be responsible. I think the only way is to incentivize them through regulation, because this is systemic. This is not just Silicon Valley, online games or casinos. It's so many things. It's subprime mortgages. This is systemic, the logic of profit that's going on here. So I think that regulation has to be changed in a much more general scale for this to change.
But given the conflict of interest, as you described it earlier, that every government finds itself in, having to regulate something that brings them in so much revenue, how optimistic can you really be that in spite of your good work here, anything's going to change?
Well, if you just look at the difference between Canada and the United States, that alone is room for optimism, because you guys do it much better. But if then you can look at the difference between Canada and a country like Norway, and I'd say they far and away do it better than other governments around the world. For instance, they allow you, as in Canada and some jurisdictions in the United States, to pre-commit. So you sign up with a card to play, and you decide, let me lock myself out of the system on my daughter's birthday. Let me put a limit on my spending of $300 a week. But it's all about the person managing themselves. That's where the burden of responsibility is put. In a country like Norway, the person can put those limits on him or herself, but the government puts limits too, and the person cannot surpass those. And I think it's quite reasonable what the government has done. I think it's something like you can't spend more than a few $100s a week or $100 a day on gambling. That seems to me quite reasonable, and there's a lot of room for having fun within that range.
Fascinating discussion. The author of Addiction by Design, Natasha Dow Schull.
Shout out to Natasha Dow. I almost call her Tasha like that's my homegirl. Shout out to Tasha. Shout out to Tasha Dow Schull. Man, that was heavy right there, and I even got even more questions to add on to it. I watched it like 4 or 5 times, and every time I watch it, I pull something different from it. But let's close this on out. The uncomfortable realization is you're not scrolling because you lack discipline. Like you may not know it. We didn't know it. I didn't know it. You feel what I'm saying? But we are interacting with systems that are designed by psychologists and engineers and data scientists whose job is to keep us engaged. So casinos perfected the psychology, and technology scaled it to millions of people. Your phone isn't a tool. It's a slot machine that studies its players. So in closing, casinos once required buildings. You had to walk through the doors, sit down at a machine. Technology removed that barrier. Now the casino travels with you in your pocket, in your bed, at work, at dinner. So the machine never disappeared. The machine just became software. And that's where I'm going to put a pin in this right now. Make sure you check out further episodes, because I will get about 3-4 episodes just out of this one. This is just laying the foundation of the rest of the gangster shit that we have to get into when it comes to attention economy and things of that nature. I've talked about that plenty of times. Like I said, check out the catalog and make sure that you tune in and you subscribe. Make sure you feedback. When I want to start going, I want to start doing this live. So, I want to go live right now, but I can't because ain't nobody gonna fucking show up. So I'm not gonna waste my time. But when we start getting the people in and start getting the community in, we can start having these conversations amongst each other and what this means for us as the Black content creator economy and the Black content creator community. What this means, but right now we on a grand scale with it. I can get into that, but I need the right people to have that conversation in a different space, in a more protected space. So, but for right now on YouTube and wherever this is going to be had on Twitter or wherever Facebook, wherever, I just want y'all to know that it's time for us to start having these conversations. It's time for us to start recognizing what the fuck is really going on and waking up. I don't want to say stay woke because it don't turn into some other shit, but be aware. Show some awareness, right? Especially those of us who have children in this era. You know, my oldest is 16, and I got one behind her. He's 11. He'll be 12 in a couple months. And I got one behind him. She's 9. You know, so I got 3 children that are in this new world that I have to teach this to and present this to try to keep their minds focused on what's going on and not too attached to these of engineered spaces. And it's our responsibility to do that amongst the other things, right? That we have to get them to unlearn and relearn, or get them while they're early to learn. There's gonna be a part in their life where they had to unlearn and relearn, just like we did. Especially if you are a millennial parent. If you a millennial parent, you already know what fucking time it is. You were born in that little section. I was born in 1990, so I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 in June. You know what I'm talking about, on Juneteenth. So you already know what time it is because we were the first ones that they engineered this shit with us. That's how they got us in these fucking loops. You remember how that shit went and came so fucking fast? From the technology to the phones to how we communicate to not communicating. Like these kids they grew up in an area where they shut the whole fucking world down. And it interrupted how they communicate and how they learn. So we have to try our best to meet them where they at. Yeah, these kids is different. They strange. Yeah, they wearing long sleeves in the spring and in the goddamn summertime. They wearing hoodies and all this shit. Yeah, they're a tad bit different, but they're more intelligent and they're smart. Their minds are beautiful and they work at a different rate because they grew up with all this shit. They grew up with the whole world in their hands. They don't even fucking know it yet. They got the whole world in their hands. We used to have to go and flip open a dusty ass encyclopedia, a dusty ass a thesaurus, a dusty ass dictionary, flip through dictionary at school. Somebody little perverted son or daughter done drew dicks in the back of the dictionary. So we got the pages weird, torn out. Y'all know how it get down if you grew up in the area or you went to school off in the area where it's 5 to 8% below the poverty line. You know, we got to get out there and research. The best thing that ever happened to me was my father, my mother, my grandmother taught me how to do the research. They'll tell me a part of the answer. If I ask them a question, they'll tell me, okay, the rest is up to you. Now you go out and you seek and you tell me, you come back and tell me what you found. And then we'll continue on the conversation. I do that with my children. Don't come to me asking all these questions. I'm gonna tell you a part of it. Then you go do the research. Let's go to the library. Let me teach you how to really get in there and really get it. Yeah, it's easy because it's in your hand. Cool. I'm going to teach you how to get it. It's a difference between somebody giving you something and you having to go and earn it. Whether it's money, whether it's learning, whether it's knowledge or education, you're going to remember it more when you have to go out and seek it and earn it your motherfucking self. So we have to try to do that the best way we can. It's imperative. It's important. We gotta do it. It ain't, oh, maybe I might. No, fuck that. It's Mando. It's mandatory, nigga. You understand what I'm saying? It's mandatory. It's mandatory. Because these are going to be the babies that take care of us. We know what they did with us as millennials, as far as the information, as far as the conditioning, the reconditioning, the people they put in front of us, that they made us look as heroes, the condition that they did to our environment, what they took from us out of the air, what they took from us and what they put in these programs that seemed cool and wasn't cool. You feel what I'm saying? They took a lot of that from us. And it's not by, oh, it's a better spot over across town. No, fuck that. This shit is by design. It's a reason why they took that shit, uprooted that shit, and moved it downtown. Moved it 30 minutes away. When that shit was right there in the middle of the hood doing numbers. Oh no, we don't want them niggas to get smart. One of the worst things that happened to me happened to a lot of us in Dallas, you know. Real quick, and I'm gonna close this out, was us losing the science place. I grew up in South Dallas on Pine Street. Shout out to everybody from the South Side. Shout out to everybody from all sides. From South Dallas, from Oak Cliff, East Dallas, West Dallas. You know what I'm talking about? Everything else in Pleasant Grove. Shout out to everybody, man. But what they took from us was the science place. In the summertime and sometimes during the school semesters, we have field trips there. And the science place had an IMAX. And this is right at the state fairgrounds in South Dallas. The same fairgrounds they used to be the meeting place for the KKK. You know, long ago. Shout out to the African American Museum. Thank God that's still up. Thank God they haven't moved that nowhere. Shout out to the African American Museum. But the science place was just a beautiful place for us to learn science. It was interactive. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? Whether you would come in, it didn't matter if you wasn't even a part of it and you stumbled in there. Cool. Come on. They're going to treat you like you was part of the group. And then after you be done, hey, go tell your mom that we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Go tell your people that we're doing this, and you can join at a discounted rate or something like that if you want to keep doing it. Well, nobody really turned away from the science place. You know what I'm saying? They had our minds on a whole different level, and they uprooted the science place and took that shit downtown. You know what I'm saying? To another place, and it don't hit the same. I've been there before. It don't hit the same as it did at the science place on the south side. It don't hit the same. This shit ain't hitting like that. It's cool. The architecture of it is fly. It's great, but it don't hit the same. You feel what I'm saying? I'm a museum going motherfucker. I was raised in the museum. My dad worked at the goddamn Dallas Museum of Art for 20 some odd years. Legend. OG. You hear me? Shout out to Dallas Museum of Art. You know? Well, shout out to some of y'all. Some of y'all, you know, it ain't hitting like it used to. But so I just noticed the shift of difference. Like, damn, we don't even have a science place no more. You know, stripped us for the, you know, make us go all the way there because it was, if you lived in South Dallas or if you say, for instance, you from Oak Cliff or Pleasant Grove or somewhere, but you knew somebody, one of your old friends you play ball with, or somebody your auntie stay in South Dallas, you can stay overnight and then you can go take you a bus to the goddamn science place. Walk to the science place. Take your bike to the science place. And go have fun and go learn something and go interact with something and go use something and go and build it up. But they stripped that from us. They didn't want that to be a part of our environment. But instead, they engineered some other shit.